Wes Moore made history last year when he was inaugurated as the first black governor of Maryland, one of just 3 black governors elected in U.S. history. A former Army captain, Rhodes Scholar, and White House fellow, Moore seems to have lived a charmed life, but he's quick to admit that he overcame some early life challenges with a little luck and a lot of help from a strong mother. We spent a couple of days in the political life of the energetic 45-year-old governor, whose goal in serving is to ensure that while he might be the first, he won't be the last.
Mita, thank
Wes
you.
Moore, it's great to see you.
Thank you so much.
Governor Wes Moore says it's service that makes his heart beat faster. Or maybe it's the pace of his daily schedule.
Thank you for coming. Hi, so good to be back.
As long as you're here, we're grinding.
Sleep when you die?
There you go.
Is that
every
it?
day, every day, every day. If you haven't done something today to make the grind and make the journey worth it, then you've wasted everybody's time. Wow.
He has ambitious plans as a leader, chasing expectations that Wesley Watende Omari Moore inherited at birth.
What's in the name? Where do those 2 middle names come from?
It was actually a compromise between my parents. When they found out they were having a son, my dad said, I want his middle name to be Watende, which means revenge will not be sought. And my mother wanted Omari, which meant the highest.
Do you feel like you have to live up to that name?
I do. I try to live up to the fact that I know my history.
The history he's making is a distinguished one. Moore graduated with honors from Johns Hopkins University, then won a Rhodes Scholarship. In 2005, he served in Afghanistan. He was an investment banker, best-selling author, CEO of one of the largest nonprofits in the country, and today, politician.
People came up to me and they're like, what made you want to get into politics? And I was like, I didn't. I wanted to be the governor. You know what I mean? Because governor is just a different type of role. So I'm having the time of my life.
First Lady Dawn Moore, his wife of 16 years and mother of their 2 children, had been behind the scenes in politics most of her career. Now they have a chance to serve together. He's the most optimistic person. Yes. Is he like that behind closed doors?
Do you know what he does behind closed doors? He talks about something over and over and over again.
Like what?
Because he knows, whatever it is, if he's working on something. For example, he wants to get Maryland back to a place where we're serving together, because he truly believes the people that serve together generally stay together. He wakes up every morning with how he can serve Marylanders in a better way.
Moore was born in suburban Maryland, in Tacoma Park. He was 3 years old when his father, a television reporter, died tragically from a treatable virus. Moore's mom, now raising 3 kids by herself, moved with him and his sisters to New York City to live with her parents in the Bronx. It was there that Moore says he got lost. Too poor to fit in at his elite private school, too rich for the tough Bronx streets. Wesley Watende Omari Moore was not meeting expectations, and his mom, Joy Moore, working multiple jobs, wasn't having it.
He was very satisfied with, like, C's, and I knew he could do better. And the school was not pushing him in the way that I thought that they should.
He was cutting class, too.
He was doing all those things that he wasn't being held accountable for.
Then one day, the cops caught Moore and a friend tagging a building, handcuffed them, and sat them in the back of a police cruiser. They let the boys off with a warning. His mom decided to send Moore away to military school, and she did it without even knowing about his police run-in.
I had no idea, because they never called me, and he never told me.
When you found that out, finally, what'd you think? What would you have done?
He might have gone to military school quicker. I don't know.
It's a decision he credits with changing his life.
You quote your sister as saying one time that our mom wore sweaters so we could wear coats.
That's my angel, man. Yeah. Because she's literally someone who sacrificed everything. Everything for her kids. Like, there was nothing she wouldn't do if she felt it could benefit her children. And she's not alone, right? My mom should not have had to work as hard as she did.
What I thought was how many kids get caught up in the system by a police officer who wasn't as understanding. If he was in the system, all the opportunities that followed afterwards would have been a lot harder. He was lucky, and a lot of other kids aren't.
This brings us to a story about another Wes Moore. This Wes was born into similar circumstances. To a mother with expectations, he grew up navigating city streets and struggling in school, yet drastically different outcomes.
Wesley John Moore and Richard Antonio Moore were caught just before 3:30. The Moore brothers are wanted on first-degree murder warrants in connection with the February 7th shooting death of Sergeant Bruce Prothero.
And there was a whole series of these articles that came out about this story. The more I looked into this, the more I realized how much more we had in common than just our names. And so one day I just decided to write him a note.
Years of conversations between the two young men became an examination of decisions and circumstances in the 2010 best-selling book, The Other Wes Moore.
What are the lessons of these two wildly different stories?
The distance between our life and someone else's life is really thin. And we should be careful on judgment.
What do these two stories say about America?
America still very much is a divided place. It's not just divided in terms of conclusion, it's divided in terms of pathways. Unfortunately, still in our society, opportunity is very miserly and it's very arbitrary. And that's the piece that I think we still have got to fix as a society.
In 2021, he launched his campaign for political office. First polling at 1%, then frontrunner and Democratic darling.
Wes is the real deal.
He knew who he was, and he had a vision for who he intended to be and how he wanted to serve.
You've elected me to serve as your governor, but the work will be done together.
Serving the people of Maryland means initiatives like a paid year of service for high school graduates, increasing the state minimum wage, access to high-speed internet, even paying people's water bills.
Let's be clear. The reason we have a child poverty issue is because we have policies that allow it. The reason we have people who are working jobs that still does not give them the resources that they need to be able to do the basic functions for their family is not because they're not working hard enough. There are policies that allow that to exist.
To Moore, it's these policies that make the difference between two distinct life paths, between a life of achievement and a life sentence. Last year, Moore supported a bill expanding gun restrictions, but the same day he signed it into law, the NRA sued to stop him.
I've known the governor for over 5 years as a personal friend. He does an excellent job communicating with the people.
Now, this is the loyal opposition talk.
That's right. Okay.
Stephen Hershey is Maryland's Republican Senate Minority Leader. An old friend, sure, but on the issue of guns, a fierce opponent.
I'm always going to protect the constitutional rights of law-abiding gun owners. And unfortunately, last year, Senate Bill 1 targeted law-abiding gun owners.
We passed common sense gun legislation that said things like, if you have a history of mental illness and a history of violence, you should not be able to purchase a firearm. You should not be able to bring a firearm in a nursery or into a home of worship or into a government building.
The other side says you're penalizing law-abiding citizens. You're denying them their Second Amendment rights. This is an uphill climb.
It's an uphill climb, and it's an uphill climb I will repeatedly make. I will fight that battle all day long. This is the pace.
At the end of this long day, it's back to the people, to a Martin Luther King Jr. memorial dinner, where the governor is honored for his service.
It's the first black governor of this state, that there is an additional responsibility that I take on in this role, and that I take it on gladly. That this is not about how can you be a governor that sometimes has to remind people that you're black. I wear my pride and my blackness every day.
So speaking of this, we got to get you in there, sir.
Okay.
It is not enough to study our history and simply call ourselves educated. It is our responsibility to hold on to our history and say it is important, it is valuable, and we will defend it.
Governor is a student of history. You're a student of history. When the final chapter is written about Wes Moore and Dawn Moore, what's it going to say?
I wanted to say that they kept their promises. I want them to say that they understood it was amazing to be the first, but that the assignment was not to be the last.
Oprah said that you told her service is the thing that makes your heart beat faster.
Yeah.
You meant that.
Oh, I meant that.
1 year in now.
Yeah.
And stay with me here for this one.
Yep.
The name Wes Moore and the words running for president makes Democrats' hearts beat faster, right? So if running for president is a definition of serving, what do you make of that?
I don't think about that at all because I don't think that running for president is a definition of service.
Don't think about it at all.
No. While all of us have an obligation to serve and do something bigger than themselves, I don't think that that comes with a specific occupation, and I definitely don't think that comes with a specific title.
Well, why not let yourself go there?
I don't think that it's useful, and I don't think that it's something that I'm being called to. My allegiance always goes to the people of this state because they were the ones who put their confidence in me. And so that's where my obligation lies.